Today I am going to show you how to make a ladybug. So I had someone request this and I thought, hey, that's going to be fun. So this will be a little different. It's going to be using the poof method, but we're going to make really small ones. And the ribbon is going to be a little different too, because we want to make it look like a ladybug instead of just making a wreath with, you know, ladybug ribbon, because this will be more fun. Alright, so we'll get started. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me see, what size is this? 15 inch? Okay, so this is a 15 inch wire work wreath form. Now this does not have the ties on it already because they just wouldn't do me any good. So we're going to use that. And I have just a 21 inch regular deco mesh. So this is actually fairly thin, but I think it will be kind of a better texture. I didn't really want something with the metallic running in it for this. I have lots of pipe cleaners, and I have, so this is the ribbon that we're going to use, because you know ladybugs, they have the little black, you know, spots on them, so I thought it'd be fun to use the ribbon as our little black spots. And then we have a couple of choices when it comes to making the head. So we can either use black deco mesh, you can use ribbon like this. I was thinking we might use this. The other thing you can do is you can take one of the styrofoam balls, cut it in half, and you could cover it. You could cover it with mesh, you could cover it with boas, you know, feather boas. That's really cute. I've seen that before. So there's a lot of different ways you could, you know, create the head. That's what makes it fun, is to try to figure out what you want to do. So to get started, I wanted to show you there is a couple different ways to do this, because I want to cover the entire wreath form. So one way you can do it is you can take your pipe cleaners and put one in each section like this, and then tie them in the middle, and then you can use that to tie your little puffs down. The other thing you can do is you can use a smaller wreath form and attach it to your larger one. And I actually have this really small wreath form that I've had forever, and I just don't use it. So I thought I'm going to use that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these ties and I'm going to use it to tie onto my other wreath form. I'm going to do it pretty nice and tight, because I'm not going to use these ties except to tie it down. So once I get it pretty tight, then I'll just cut these off and tuck them under. One of the reasons I thought this would be fun to use is because, see, it's going to make it dimensionally great, because you see how high that's going to be? I kind of thought that was cute, so it looks like, you know how a ladybug kind of has that rounded form. So I thought that was cute. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm just using these little ties to tie around the one at the bottom. And I'll do the majority of this off camera, so you don't have to watch me do the whole thing, but that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to tie these down. And then I'm going to use these ties here in the middle. And I'm going to do the same thing I would do with pipe cleaners. So I'm just going to put them in the middle, tie them together so I can form a base to put some more on. So I'll just tie them here in the middle, and I may even add some more once we get to this point, but we'll see, because I am going to make the poofs much smaller. There we go. Just because I want a more uniform look. So yeah, I think I will probably add a couple of more pipe cleaners to this. So I'll do that. I will get this attached and I will finish this up, and then when I come back we'll start adding in our mesh. Okay, so I've gotten it tied here, and then I tied, it looks a little messy, but it's not going to matter, you're not going to see it. Hi Bella. So I tied a whole bunch in the middle. I cut some of these because see there's two, and then just kind of use those to string as well. So now that I've gotten this done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these on. We are going to cut these in half. Okay. Because I think it's going to work out for us. Okay, so I will start off by tying it. Bella, get out of the flowers. I will start by tying it around one of these little middle sections. I'm sorry, she likes to root in my flowers for some reason. Okay, so I've got one. And the reason I cut this in half is because I like to use this method to measure where I want to go around. And I want the loops to be a lot smaller. So I cut them in half. That's not quite enough to tie on the bottom and the top. So I'm just going to use this as a guide. So I'll loop these around the upper and the lower just to try to keep them secure and in place. I'm going to really twist it tight. Okay. So I want the next one to go about right here. So I'm just going to use this as a tool. So okay. See, I'm just looping it around the one above it and then tying it really tight. That just helps kind of keep it in place. Okay. Then the next one here. Okay. Oops. See, and if I was making a different kind of wreath, I would have gone ahead and gone to that little section right there. But because I want these to be small, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go where that one landed me. There we go. Alright. So I'm just going to do this all the way around. The same. So I'll just keep doing the same thing. So I'm going to be using a lot more of these than I would normally use. So I will just keep going all the way around doing this and getting the pipe cleaners where I want them to go. And then when I come back, we can start putting this together. So I will be back in just a minute. So I'm back, and I wanted to show you this. So I know it looks like a hot mess, but I just kind of wanted to tell you what I did. So we'll start down here at the bottom. So I did like I told you. I picked a point. I started there, and I think I used my little measurement, but I'll show you. I took a half a piece, a half of a pipe cleaner, and I bent it over, and I used that to determine where to go next, and next, and next, and next. And then when I got to the second layer, I did the same exact thing. Same thing with this layer. Same thing with this layer. Now they're not perfect, and you don't have to make it perfect. And then when I got to the middle, I'm just kind of doing every other one, because you don't want it to be so close that, you know, you're not going to be able to get the stuff on there. But you also want it to be close enough that it's going to make those small little puffs. So I'll show you what I mean. So this here is what I call, I'm not really sure exactly what it's called, but it's called like a sunburst wreath. And you see how closely I put these little ties together? Well, see, that's kind of the look that I'm going for, which is this. This is 21 inch, and it just makes a really full, thick little bubble. And I like that because, one, you can't see through it, and this is the thinner deco mesh in the 21 inch. So if I do it like this, you're less likely to see the base. Plus, I think it just will look really cute because, for one, you know, I think the ladybugs kind of have this little hump thing, and so I don't want to make really big poofs and have all this really big stuff, because I think it wouldn't exactly look like a ladybug. So that's what I was thinking when I put this mini on here. But don't let it intimidate you. It is not difficult. A little time consuming, but not difficult. So, and we may end up putting on, we probably will end up putting on a few more of these when we get here to the middle. So I'll probably just grab a couple more. Because if I don't use one, it's not really a big deal. So I'm just going to cut these in half. I'm just going to put a few in the middle. And once again, I don't want them to be too close together. So that's probably about as many as I'm going to do right now. And then when we get to the middle, we might see. We'll see if we need more. So to get started, I'm going to push all of these, except for that bottom layer. I'm going to push all these up, because when you're working with this many, it can get confusing. So, just going to push these up like that. And then when I get done with the first layer, I'll pull the second layer down and keep the rest up. So it just makes it a little bit easier to work with when you're doing something like this. There. Okay, so now I'll just make sure all the bottom ones are open, so that we don't have to try to open them while we're going around. And we're going to be using much smaller little poofs than we normally do. Whoop, that one didn't go up. So, I just want that little small look, so that'll help us get that. It's a lot, but it's not really as bad as it looks. Okay, so now I've gotten it all ready. And of course, the first thing I like to do is take one of my little zip ties. Stuck in the package. There we go. And I'm going to use that to tie this down to the frame. So I'm going to pick a spot. I think I'll do it. Let's see which one is closest. I think I had one. There. Okay, I'm going to pick this spot right here. So that's right next to this little crossbar right here. Okay. So I'm just going to pinch this up, just like I'm making a regular poof type wreath. And I'm going to put it right past where that tie is, right there. And just tie it on. Because when we get back, this is where we'll end before we go on to the next level, right here. Okay, just clip that off and hide it in the back. Okay, so normally I do 10-inch puffs. Today we're going to do, let's see what we're going to do. Like maybe 3 or 4. Let's see. That's 5. Well, I think I might have just a tad smaller than that. There. What's that? 4. Okay, so I'm going to make them 4 inches. And I tell you, I'm not very good about measuring. I just, when I'm, you know, making these, I just kind of eyeball it. So I will just kind of make about the same size, just kind of eyeballing it to see that it's the same. But hey, it's okay. If you want to measure it out every time, that's okay too. I'm just pulling it up and tying it. Okay, so I'm just going to go around doing this, and what I'm going to do is kind of tuck this in. See, I'm just tucking it in, and the reason I'm doing that is just to make this a little bit thicker so that you can't really see through. And I'm hoping once we get the whole thing around that you're really not going to be able to see, but we'll see. So I'm just doing the same thing. Just making a little puff. Oh, there it is. Tying it down. Kind of making sure it's tucked in. And it's not too big. There we go. So I'm just going to keep doing this all the way around, just making small little poofs. Tying it down. I'm not going to worry a whole bunch about, you know, making it perfect right now, because once I get them all on here, I can go around and kind of work them the way I want them to look. Okay, so I am going to keep doing this, and then when I get back around, I'll come back and we'll start on the second layer. Okay, I've gotten back around. You see how cute these little puffs are? I just like that. So now that I've gotten back around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the ties up above it, because we're going to go in those next. Whoop, not there. When you're working with this many ties, it is definitely best if you just pull one out at a time instead of pulling them all out. Okay. So I'll just keep going around pulling these out, and then I will start putting them in the second row. It is a lot of ties, but don't let that intimidate you. Okay, so now I'm just going to go into the next one as close as I can, and just making my small little poof here. Tie it down. Because what I'll do is spread it out so that it kind of covers, you know, both layers. Then I'll just keep doing the same thing, just making the really small poofs. Tie it down. Kind of spread it out a little bit. And I tell you, one trick you can do if you're making something like this and you're using these small little poofs is underneath here. See, I have kind of brought these two together in the middle, almost like I'm folding it in half, but I'm trying to keep these two middle sections kind of together. And once you start going around, it will naturally do this, and that helps to keep it tucked underneath, which is what I'm trying to accomplish with having these small little loops here. So and I either kind of do these, spread them out as I'm going, or I will come back at the end and do that. But I'm just going to keep going around in the same pattern, just making the small little loops. So I will keep going around this level like that, and then when I come back, we'll do the exact same thing on the third level, the fourth level, and then the middle. So I'll be back. Okay, moving right along. I like that. I like how this looks. It's very tight, but I like it. So now I'm just going to go on this next level and open these ties up so that I can go into those. And I do want this to be pretty snug because it's kind of the look I'm going for. So, well, let's see, where is that tie? There it is. So I kind of have to move these around a little bit now because, you know, we're using 21 inch, so it is a little bit, makes it a little bit snug, but that's really what I want because I don't want you to be able to see underneath that red mesh. So I kind of have to move things around to get the ties out, but nope, it'll be worth it in the end. Okay. We are almost back to the beginning here. Alright, so we're ready to go on to the next level. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to make a small little puff, and I'm going to go right into this next tie, which is right above where I'm working. Tie it down. And I'm tying these down a good couple times because I'm doing very small puffs and I'm using the 21 inch. It makes it thicker, so you want to do at least a couple of ties. So we'll do a couple more. Just same thing. The small little loop. Tie it down. That's my boys out there playing. And I just kind of spread it out and go on to the next one. And I'm just going to do this all the way around this level. And we are quickly working our way up to the middle. So see, what I like about this is it's going to be completely covered. And it will be, you know, one solid piece. Which, one of the reasons I like this is because you see on a ladybug, they kind of start and kind of have this little hump. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish by doing this. So I will keep going on this top level, and then when I come back we'll do the next one, and then we'll be to the center. And we'll see how many we need to put down at the center. We may need as many ties as we have, and we may not. Sometimes you just kind of have to figure that out as you're going along. So, and we are probably definitely going to use this whole roll. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I've gotten to the center. I'm really liking how this looks. It looks like I pictured it, and once I got it to this stage, I thought, you know, I wanted to give you another idea, because I was thinking, oh my gosh, that would be so cute. So see, you could do something like this and not do a ladybug. You could do anything that would fit in the middle that would be really cute. Now I would take this welcome part off and this little tie off, but that would look really cute right in the middle. So I just happened to be thinking about that. So I'm going to take this last level here and pull these ties out so that I can get this last little level done. And I did do pretty much 2 on this, so you can see I did 2 layers on this bottom one, 2 layers on this top one, and then some in the middle. So I know this looks like a lot, but this is the best way to achieve the look that I wanted to get, so that's okay. I'm willing to do it. You wouldn't have to do it necessarily this way. You could do it with the larger poofs. So, okay, so I got that. So I'm just going to do the same thing. So I'm almost out, and I do have another roll just in case. So if we run out, we'll just open that other one up. So I will just go into my next little tie. Tie that down, and then fluff it up. And of course I will come back to a lot of these at the end and fluff them up. I'm just kind of pulling them out now so I can see how it's working together. Okay, and I'm just making a small puff and going into the next one. Trying to keep those two. I'm trying to keep those 2 middle pieces together so that it'll form my little loop. And of course, when you get down to the bottom of a mesh, it can be difficult to work with because it gets very rolly. See how it's all rolled up here? But that's okay. You just have to be patient with it. Okay. So I'm just going to do this all the way around this very top layer. And then when I come back, we'll do the center, and then we'll decide what we're going to do. I was thinking about using this to indicate the little dots. So we'll see how we're going to do that as soon as we get all this done. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I haven't gotten quite all the way around because I kind of got to the end of the roll, and so I thought I'd just stop and show you. So I just zip tied it here in the back, and I'm just going to cut it off. Not too close to the zip tie, but I don't want too much back there either. Okay. And then I'll just start a new roll right here in that same spot. So whenever I'm working on a project, I always try to have at least two rolls of the same mesh, because you never know when you might need more, and usually not much, but sometimes you need just a little bit more. So I usually keep a second one. So I'm just going to do the same thing we did starting out. Just going to pinch it like this. Let's see. Here's my zip tie. So I'm just going to run it right back underneath where I just stopped off with that last one. So if I flip it over, you can see. I'm going to tie it underneath this row here, just so you can't see it. Okay. I'm using a smaller zip tie. Sometimes those can be a challenge, but there we go. So now that I've got the new one tied in, I'll just keep going. So I'm going to start off by taking my two ends, and kind of putting them in the back together, so that when I make my little puff, the ends are tucked underneath. Just makes it a little bit easier when you're going around and you're wanting to make like a little puff like this. So I'll just keep doing that. See, once you do that, then it will naturally just automatically keep doing the same thing. So you don't have to keep making a concentrated effort to do that. So okay. So I don't have a whole lot left on the top. So when I'm working in a small area like this, I will just kind of move things down so I can see where I'm going. Okay. Now we're getting really close to that center. I don't think we're going to need a whole lot of ties when we get to the center, so we're probably not going to need all those ties I have in there. Okay. It can be a little bit more challenging when you get to the middle, but that's okay. It also won't take very long to get it covered. Actually, I think we've gotten back. We've gotten back to the starting point. Great. Okay, so I'm just going to go, I'm going to move this tie. So I'm just going to go to this next tie that I have here in the center, right here. I may actually move that over a little bit. Put it on this one. Because I don't want it to be too far away. I also don't want it to be too close, so. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to lose the circular theme. All right, I feel good with that. So now I'm just going to cut a piece off like that. We're done with this second roll. And I'm going to tuck it down in here like that. Then I'll start fluffing some of these up. Okay, and then I will come around the back and I will tie this piece down with another zip tie. Where's my zip ties? Oh, there they are. If possible, I will tie it to this base, just because it's more secure if you do that. So all right. There we go. We have the body done, and that's what it looks like. Cut this little piece off. And this is what the back looks like. Now, if you're worried about what the back looks like, there are several different things that you can do. Here, let me show you. I get these little placemats at the Dollar Tree, and a lot of times if I have a wreath that looks like this, I will at the end come back and just attach this with a few either zip ties or pipe cleaners, and it just gives a very nice clean look to the back, which is really great, especially if you have like a glass door and you would see the back. You wouldn't want to see all that. So this is really full, and it feels very different than the normal poof wreath, which I like. As you know, I'm always trying to find new and different ways to do things just because I think that's fun. So now that we've gotten it like this, we're going to figure out how we're going to get these little black dots on there. Okay, so now that we've gotten this made, I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can make this look into a ladybug. So I took some felt, and I actually used one of my small paint pans and just, made a circle and cut some out. Then what you can do is just kind of put them on here, randomly around like that. That definitely works. I've seen a lot of people do this. You can take this and make it into the head by, making a few puffs like this, and then kind of making it into a head down here. And then all I did was take some black pipe cleaners and just curl up the little edge so that you can make the little antennas. So I have a couple antennas made. So you can do that. You can take this and run it down the middle for that little black stripe, like this. You can get one of the styrofoam balls and cut it in half. You could cover it in some felt or paint it. But I thought we would do something more fun. So I wanted to do something a little different. So I have this really cute black and white ribbon. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bow. And we're going to use the bow up here at the top as a head. So I'm going to take, here we go. I'm going to use some of my floral wire. I'm not going to make this bow very big, and I don't want any tails. So, let's see, our little loops were about 3, right? So I'm going to make this about 3 inches, like this. I don't want it to be big. Well, I might make it a tad bigger than that. Let's see how big that is. Okay, so about 4. So I'm going to do it about 4. So I'm just going to pinch it here in the middle and have a little excess over here. And I'm just going to make the same little loop on the other side. I'm going to make sure they are the same size. They are. So I'm going to hold it in the middle. And I'm just going to twist it so that that pretty pattern is going up. I'm going to make the same size. Come back to the center, hold it, and twist it again. Whoops. So that that same pattern comes up like that. Go to the center, twist it again. Whoops. There we go. Back to the center. And let's see. Okay. Twist it again to get that pattern back up. Come back down. I think we'll do maybe 4. Okay, so I'll get back to the middle, twist it, get my pattern back up, do another loop, back to the center, twist, make sure they're all the same size, yes. Okay, and then I'm going to take my floral wire, just run it in the middle, and I'm going to pull it really tight and twist it one good time. Okay, then I will trim this off, and then I'm going to take this wire and twist my bow around because I want to make sure that's really tight. Alright, now So there's a couple ways that you can, what you can use to fluff your bow. Anything that is heavy. Now I do have a fluff box, so a lot of times I like to use this just because it's keeps it in place, and so it has this little hook on it right here, and I just slide it into the hook and then twist it around this little nail. Boy, and I just made enough. And it just helps to have it so that I can kind of fluff things out and move things around. And since this is all the same pattern, it's not as hard to do this one because it doesn't matter, you know, where I have the puffs, because they're all the same. So I just want to fluff this up. There we go. Alright, so once I get it to where I want it to be, I'll just take it back off of this hook. It's so small I can't see it. I'm just going to cut it off. I don't need that much. Then I'll pull that off. Okay, then I'm going to slide it right back out. Then I will put this little fluff box away. So now we have our little head. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to run it to the base and tie it in the back. I want to tie it pretty good because I don't want that to come loose. Okay, and then I'll just refluff it. I just like this a little better. I think right now it doesn't really look that much like a head, but I also kind of like that because it is deco mesh, so you want it to look like deco mesh. And then what I'll do is I'll just take my little antennas and I'll run it right behind this bow. Let's see, I want them to stand out. I think that's good. Maybe about right there. And then I will just tie these down. Okay, so I'm just going to tie these down onto the base. Now I'm kind of going to move it over in this towards the center. And I'll tie them kind of in the same spot. There we go. So see there? I think that looks cute. Okay, so you can still do, if you would prefer, you can do these little circle things on here like that, and you know, put several around, and then you'd be done. That would be it. That would be your ladybug. But I thought it would be more fun if we did this. Okay, so you know, a lot of ladybugs have kind of the black stripe down the back. So we're going to take this and we're going to put it underneath our bow. And I'm going to tie it down pretty good. And then just hide this around the back. Okay. So we're going to use this as our black stripe. So I'm just going to pick some of these ties and I'm going to tie it down occasionally. and then hide my little pipe cleaners. I'm going to kind of fluff this up a little bit so you can't tell so much. Okay. Now I want to keep it running in the same line. So I'll do the same thing. Just tie it down. Hide that. Fluff this up. Go a couple more loops. Find another tie. Here we go. Okay, tie this one down. Let me tip this down a little bit so you can see better. Okay, and then I will end the tail over here at the very last one. I just think that's kind of cute. It's a little different. I kind of like it to be a little bit different because, you know. There. So there's our little black line on the ladybug. I think that looks so cute. So if you wanted to do the little black dots, I'll show you what that looks like. So, just kind of fun. You could either run wire through them or you could glue them down. Like that. See, that looks so cute. I like that. And one thing I will do is I will go through and I will trim these little pipe cleaner pieces. And I will push them in the back and kind of push them over the base. But what I'm going to do, one thing I'm going to do is, you see this right here is showing. So I'm going to take small pieces of the black and I'm going to cover that red pipe cleaner just with the black, so that it kind of blends in with the ribbon like that. So that's one thing I'm going to do all the way down here. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure all of my little bubbles, kind of what I'm thinking about them right now, are covering everything in the way I want it to look. Now, one of the reasons I didn't really like this ribbon a whole lot is I thought it was covering too much of this bubble, and I really kind of like this look. So I decided I was going to go with my felt dots. So I'm just going to put a little glue on them, and I'm just going to put them down around. I think this looks a little bit more like a ladybug than having the ribbon. I think the dots on this ribbon are just too small. So I think we're just gonna, I'm gonna figure out where I want to put them. And then I'll come back and glue them. And that'll be it. We have done our little ladybug. So I think she looks cute. I like her. So I hope you enjoyed this. And this was actually a request from someone, so I hope she likes it, and I hope you liked it. And if there's one that you would like me to do, that you would like to see, then just let me know, because I'm happy to do that. And I think it's fun. It gives me a little challenge of something to do. So I like to do that. So I will be back soon. I have several more that I have planned. So I think we'll have some fun. I've done the grapevine wreath. And I've done the ladybug. I'm going to do a pumpkin, a Christmas tree, a snowman, and then we'll just kind of fill in some various ones within that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon. Make sure you subscribe and like and comment. Bye-bye.